This video is about Quick Decks football, which is an offshoot of what was 49 football. 49 football is soon to be called 49 on the turf football because in the last couple of years of not selling the game, I've made some enhancements to it. And so I came up with this Quick Decks version to start with as a way to learn how to play the on the turf football. What I learned quickly with some playtesters is, hey, this actually is a pretty good game in and of itself. So I created the decks, worked on it until I got to a point where I thought it's worthy of, let's play through a couple of seasons. So I played through 2021 Cincinnati. I had a playtester play through 2019 New England, some games played from 1976, some games played from one other year in there. I don't even remember what it was. But in completing the seasons, we realized that, hey, these results are actually really good as 49 football. And so it doesn't require the spreadsheet like you do need in 49 football or on the turf football. On the turf football also can take advantage of the bottom of the team chart. There's extra data there, so you don't need the spreadsheet. But that was synonymous with 49 footballs, you need the spreadsheet. Well, Quick Decks football, you don't need that. You just need your two decks, you need your two team charts, you need a way to track the yardage and the time and the score, statistics if you want, and that's it. You're up and running very quickly. And once you learn the system, it repeats really well. You play a game in about an hour. And then if you want the advantages of on the turf football and you want to go in for the more in-depth game, well, the system's the same. You kind of go through the same system to learn how to resolve a play and on the turf football. But on the turf football, what you're going to get is defensive play calling, special plays, read options, zone read, playing a zone defense, doing extra blitzing, those kinds of things that are part of a football game. But of course, that takes a couple hours to play when you get that in depth in a football game, where this Quick Decks football is about an hour and the statistics are great. When we finished playing through the seasons, I did 21 Cincinnati and I ended up 12-5 on the year. They were 10-7 in real life. But I had to play the last game out like it was a real game, where in real life they actually sat people. The 2019 New England Patriots was spot on for wins and losses, but then playtester said, okay, so this works great for teams that are really good. How's it going to do for teams that maybe aren't so good? And so I thought, well, I've never really wanted to play the 1976 Seattle Seahawks, their inaugural year in the NFL, but if I'm ever going to do it, this is the best chance for that. So made up charts and played through the 1976 Seahawks, and I can tell you it was frustrating. It felt like you had an expansion team. You just get something going and you get back-to-back holding calls or interceptions and fumbles and all the things that went with it. The defense wasn't all that great. And so at the end of it though, the Seahawks in real life were 2-14 that year. The end of my replay of it, I was 2-14 and actually won the exact same two games that they won in real life. So that was a point where I knew, hey, this is a really good game. I need to package this up and offer it as a standalone game because of the 1 hour time play. We all like games that are maybe a little bit quicker to play now because there's so many options. There's so many good games to play. But let's take a look and I'll show you how the system works, how you resolve a running play and a passing play, and see if it's something for you. I've got a game between the 1984 Green Bay Packers and the LA Raiders set up. Green Bay's actually leading this game in the third quarter, 24-17. Mark Wilson just threw his third pick of the game for the Raiders. But let's take a look at how to resolve a running play. So Jerry Ellis is going to do an off tackle run, and you've got four runs you can do. You can do inside, off tackle, stretch, or out. Off tackle is the least risk reward. Outside has the most reward, but then also the most risk that goes along with it. So Ellis's number is a 43. That's called a starting running number. Now you're going to go down here and flip over a game action card and see if there's any modifiers. Modifiers happen right here. So if it was an inside run or an outside run, you use these top two numbers. And it's an off tackle or stretch, you use these bottom. Off tackle is 3, stretch will be 5. So you can see an outside run, you'd get a plus 20 on the running number. Each of these running numbers you can think of is on average about a yard difference. So an outside run would, in this case, would net you a couple extra yards possibly, or more, because the higher the number, the better the chance are that you can get a breakaway run. Okay, so Ellis's number, he was 43. Then you modify it by that 3, it makes it a 46. You go to results card, and the results card down here is where the
Running numbers are all set up in 10 number increments. You just match it up. 43 is there, 3-yard gain. So Ellis picked up 3 yards, 2nd down and 7. Okay, well, let's try another running play, because in 1984, that's what you did. You ran the ball a lot. Let's try an outside run. So his running number is 47. What you're gonna do is turn over a new game action card and do any modifiers. Well, in this one, there are no modifiers. Now there's a potential, if you were playing a CFL game, that there could be a penalty. You'll also see there's a chance for a fumble, and you'll discover that as you get into the game. But right now, I just want to show you how this resolves. So we got a 47, no modifier, turn over the next results card, and the 47 is a 5 for a 5-yard gain. So now it'll be 3rd down and 2. And that's just how you resolve a running play. It's just wash, rinse, repeat. If there's a potential fumble on the play, if when you turn over a card, it has this up here, fumble run, it means there's a potential for a fumble by the running back on the play. And the way you resolve that is you look at the running back's fumble rating, and Jerry Ellis's fumble rating is 1 to 3. You're gonna grab a dice and roll it, and a D20 that is, and if it's a 1 to 3 and look at that, it's a fumble. And so there's a procedure that you go through to determine first where the fumble happens. So you turn over the next card and the fumble run happens at 50% of the run. So, fumbles are a big part of the game, as any turnover is, but that's basically how you resolve a running play. Okay, let me show you now how to resolve a pass. You have 5 pass depths: short, intermediate, medium, long, and deep. And they are kind of what you'd expect them to be for distance. There's also a Hail Mary at the end. So let's start by trying an intermediate pass to Paul Kaufman. So there's 3 numbers on each column. The white with the blue lettering on it, that's what's called the player selection. You can see it goes from 1 to 20. You can roll a D20, and that's how you select your player if you don't want to select them yourself. And there's rules around selecting them yourself so you don't overuse a player. The second number is the completion percentage number. So Paul Kaufman's completion percentage is 64, and then if the pass is complete, his yardage number is 40. So let's see if he gets a completed pass. First of all, it's a 64. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn over a game action card and see if there's any pressure, which would show up here, or a penalty or potential interception, or any modifiers to the pass itself. There's none. His number is 64. So then you're gonna turn over a results card. And this results card is a P. A P means the defense has a chance to deflect the pass away. If it was a higher number, the C means it's an automatic completion. If it has a star and then a P, the star comes first. If the receiver is a star, and Paul Kaufman is a star, so is James Lofton, or it could be a plus, which means they get a lot of receptions during the year. That means that's their all-star status. They actually make that catch. If they weren't rated that, then you go to the P result. P result means the defense has a chance to deflect the pass. If you go to the team chart, so for the Los Angeles Rams, they're playing defense right now. Their pass deflection rating is 1 to 11. You're gonna take a dice and we're gonna roll it, and a 1 to 11 means they deflect the pass, and it's a 12. So somebody came close to getting a finger on the ball, but he didn't. So the pass is gonna be complete. If it was deflected, the pass is just incomplete. Okay, so the pass is complete, so let's look at his yardage number. So Paul Kaufman's yardage number is 40, but then you can modify it by this number right here along the passing yards. And to get started, you don't even have to worry about using the cells, but we'll, after you get going a couple of games, then you're gonna add these things in because they add a little bit more to the game. So his passing yardage number is a 50. What you're gonna do is flip over a card, and you see that the 50 is a 9.5 yard gain. Had I not got that modifier, would have been a 7.5 yard gain. We'll talk a little bit more about the half-yard increments in a minute. If you don't want to use half-yard increments, well, you can round up in the first and the third quarters, or round down in the first and the third quarters. You can choose round up in the second and the fourth, or do a half one way, half the other way. But you will get used to the half-yard increments, and you'll find out how they come into play throughout a game. So anyway, that is how you get through a pass. Let's go through one more. Let's try one more intermediate pass. And this time, let's go to Jerry Ellis, because he's our running back and it's first down. So his completion percentage number is 66. So what we're going to do is turn over a game action card and see if there's any modifiers. Well, if it was a modern day game, there's a chance for a review on the play. I'll let you discover that. Same with the forced fumbles. But this is the key one right here. Because to me, pressure is one of the most important aspects of any football game. A defense can dictate the control of a game if they can get pressure on, or a quarterback can have his way if they aren't able to get pressure on. What this means is there's potential pressure on an intermediate or longer pass by the defense. The DEF means you're going to look at the defensive chart and see what their number is. So pass rush for the LA Raiders, ignore the +3 for right now. We'll use that in just a second. This number in brackets, so the DEF is the number in brackets. So it's 1 to 13. You're going to roll this dice again, and a 1 to 13 this time means they get pressure on, and it's a 3, so they do get pressure. The way pressure is resolved is you're going to roll a D20 again for the quarterback, and this number is a 15. You're going to look at the quarterback's ratings right over here. So Lynn Dickey's the quarterback. The 15 means you look at this column here as the pass. And there's 4 things that can happen when you get pressure. Quarterback could get sacked. So if that D20 would have been a 1 to 4, he would have been sacked. A 5 to 15, which is what the roll was, means he was able to elude the rush, but you take -10 on the completion percentage. So remember, Jerry Ellis's completion percentage was 66. Well, now it's 56 because of the result of the pressure. The pressure could have been a check down. So, quarterback is just look for a safety valve receiver, and there's rules on how the check down works, or he could have run the football too. And you can still pass on check downs and runs. You can force passes. But again, those are fun stuff that you're going to discover as a game as you go along. So if we follow through with this pass to Jerry Ellis, it was a 66. We're going to turn over a new results card, and it became a 56. So the 66 would have been an automatic completed pass, but because of the pressure, it made it a 56. So then you go back, because it's a P result, and see if the Raiders actually deflected the pass. A 1 to 11 means they deflected the pass. It's a 1. They did. Pass is incomplete. So the pressure worked that time for the LA Raiders. There's one other, let me show you a card here, and this shows the QB. So it's pressure and an intermediate or longer pass, and now it's based on the quarterback's rating. And the quarterback's rating for Lynn Dickey along here is 1 to 4. So a 1 to 4, but then you also modify it by the defense, and that's where that plus number comes in as a 3. So a 1 to 7, when it comes up with a quarterback, means that that's how the pressure gets applied. Okay, well, that's how you resolve running plays and passing plays. Kick plays are just as quick as well. The game comes with reference cards that I have here. They will allow you to get back up to the game quicker if you've been away from it for a while. There's plays that don't happen very often, so you don't have to go back to the manual. So you've got those timing charts. You've got a real simple timing chart with just 10-second increments, or you can go to this more advanced timing chart, which in the last 5 minutes takes it down to 2.5-second increments. Your choice of what you use, but I tell you, the 2.5-second increments, the last 5 minutes, makes the game play like a real football game. It's a lot of fun doing that. Real quick on why the system is the way it is. I could have designed this game where there was charts and you just flip over a chart and it gives you the result. But these games, starting with 49 football, which I started back in 2015, you actually have to do some simple math, and there's a reason for that. And that is, we've been told as we age that we should do Sudoku puzzles or we should do crossword puzzles. I like Sudoku. I'm horrible at crossword, but I started thinking like, okay, I'm on board with that. Let's keep our mind active. I think that's a great thing to do. But why can't I incorporate that into something I really enjoy doing, which is playing tabletop football or hockey or some of the other tabletop games? And that's why I've created the game the way it is. So you have to do some simple math, the half-yard increments or the half-second timing intervals. That's why they're there. And they just help to challenge your mind. And besides, you can go to your significant other and say, hey honey, I have to do some brain exercise. I'm gonna go play quick decks football.